Welcome viewers, this is Mukesh Sharma here, CEO of the Vishwa Shanti Darshan channel, the channel which talks about peace, spirituality, science and harmony. The channel is located at Rajbagh. Rajbagh, the same place where we had the India's greatest showman Raj Kapoor. This was his place, which finally has been converted into a beautiful university, the Art, Design and Technology University. A lot of guests come, a lot of people who come here meet our vice chancellors and other people, other students, they interact with them. And today I have an interesting guest from Norway. And though it's difficult to pronounce her name, but I'll try and do it. She is Åshild Kolås. Am I right, ma'am?
Yes, thank
Correct.
you so much.
Thanks for visiting this place. Thanks for coming here, and I welcome you wholeheartedly.
Thank you.
So she's a research professor, and I'm going to ask her what she professes primarily. That is what it is, because she has been in India for quite some time and she has seen this country. So without wasting any further time, I go to her and request her to tell me all about her research and what all she's doing and how she finds this Rajbagh, this place.
Thank you so much for inviting me. First of all, I have to say that I'm just here visiting. Actually, I was coming to India this time to visit my good friends Priyanka and Anju Upadhyaya, who I've been known for many, many years. They are at the Banaras Hindu University, the Malaviya Center for Peace Research, and we've had some cooperation with them. And I'm from the Peace Research Institute Oslo, which is one of the world's oldest peace research institutes, and it was founded by three people, but the most famous of them is Johan Galtung, who was inspired by his visit to India way back more than a half a century ago. And he was very interested in the Indian philosophies and notions of peace and harmony. So I think that really makes it very interesting for me to come back again and see this wonderful place. I first visited India in the late 1980s, actually. So I've been coming back for very many years, but the latest years, of course, during COVID, it was difficult to visit. So I'm very happy to be back again. And this is my first time to come to Pune and my first time to visit this wonderful place. And I do hope that it will be possible for the director of my institute to also come and visit maybe next year. And I would also certainly like to come back. Right now, my project that I'm working on at PRIO is, which is funded by the Research Council of Norway. It's called e-Topia, India, China and Biometric Borders. And the reason why I came up with this idea about e-Topia is of course, it's a play on the name of Utopia, but it's with an E, and the E is for electronic. And it's about the digitalization of the two really big emerging economies, China and India, and how, you know, these will be sort of very important actors in the multipolar world. So this project is started in March 2020, and it was supposed to be based on fieldwork. And as I'm an anthropologist, really I don't do anything without visiting and doing grounded work in the field. I think one of the people who was speaking today also mentioned that journalists need to do...
They could do the reporting on the ground.
And to me, doing peace research without doing fieldwork is kind of impossible. It's
just sitting in a room in the desk doesn't make sense.
Right, exactly. And a lot of the peace research, frankly, at my institute is quantitative. So they're collecting data from all kinds of statistical databases, and then they're comparing it to I don't know what. So, and sometimes I disagree with them, my colleagues too, because I feel like you cannot really understand anything without going and talking to people face to face. So that is my approach to e-Topia as well.
So that's interesting. So what, as you said, you visited this Pune for the first time. So what other Indian cities you have seen?
Well, I was in Dharamsala actually for a year for my master fieldwork in anthropology. That was in 1991 to 92.
You don't look all that old. You say 80s and 90s. I mean.
No. This was for my master's. And these days a master student does even in anthropology they do like 2 months maximum of fieldwork. So at that time we actually got student loans and we got an extra year. Of course, we ended up with a bigger loan, but we got an extra year just for doing fieldwork for anthropology. So that was the system.
But why did you choose Dharamshala only?
Oh, that's a good question. It's actually I was just exploring all of Asia for looking for, like, I had already decided that I was going to do anthropology.
Okay.
And then a friend of mine, there was this special college, high school, where they would go to take the Trans-Siberian Railway to Beijing. Every year they would do that. Yeah. So I thought, oh, maybe that's a good way for me to travel, because this was in 1988.
Okay.
And it was more expensive to fly
than to travel the surface transport.
Yes, and also you don't see anything when you fly.
Yeah, yes, you're right.
So I wanted to just see everything.
So Indian Railways.
Yeah, and after the Trans-Siberian, from via Mongolia, we ended up in Beijing.
Okay.
And then we took the friend and myself, since I thought it would be a little dangerous to travel completely alone. Yes. So I wanted to be, at least we were two.
Group of people.
So we took trains all over China, and we went to Tibet. Okay. Of course, you can't, at that time you couldn't take a train to Tibet, but we took the train to Xining in Qinghai, which is near the Qinghai Lake.
Okay.
And then from there we took like a vehicle, like a minibus with some other foreigners that we just met in the hotel.
So you have met Chinese and you have met Indians.
Yes.
Do you find any similarity in the two civilizations, the people?
Oh, so both China and India are so huge countries,
That's there.
There's so many different nations. So, and that was one of the things that I brought back with me when I was coming back. That after having seen Tibet, when I came to India, of course I had to go to Dharamsala because I was very fascinated with the Tibetans. And but I did actually come to Calcutta first.
Okay.
And I saw those street hospital people.
Yes.
It was very, very. This was in, as I said,
during Mother Teresa's time.
Yes, exactly. So it had become 89. It was like in January 89. And there were people camping in the street, and it was totally different from today. So at that time, I was just very struck by the poverty. And then, of course, when then I took the train to Delhi, and I also came to Mumbai, but it was just short because I took like this India pass, train pass, I think it was called at the time, so you could take some time.
So you have seen India in the 90s, in the 80s, and you have seen India now in 2020 nearly, which is over also 22.
Right.
What change do you see or observe over the years?
So that is why I got to be interested in this e-Topia, because both China and India are very diverse. And they're also very different between them, of course, we know. And there's also a certain amount of tension between India and China, and they represent two different civilizations. But they have one thing in common, which is also in common with the Western world, which is that new technology is changing everything. So that's how I wanted to know, because I'm always learning, And when I'm researching, that's the great thing about researching. I'm just studying all the time, constantly.
That's good.
I'm never finished.
Yes, you're learning.
So this research project gave me the opportunity to really try to understand how digitalization, e-governance, and new media, digital media as well, like new platforms, all of this, how it's actually changing society in a really big way. And of course, there's good sides to it and there's bad sides, and it can contribute to peace, as Priyanka said today, and it could also be an obstacle.
Yes. So you have been around the globe, you've been globe-trotting. You must have seen various structures. You've seen this dome also here, the World Peace Dome.
Yes.
Now tell me frankly, what do you think about this World Peace Dome, and do we really need such a big dome?
Oh, I think you do. I think it's wonderful.
Okay.
You know, we were watching this short film yesterday with that we were shown, and I was suggesting to Priyanka, why don't we have the United Nations invite them to come here instead of in New York?
Yes.
Because this is the really good place to, you know, come together.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really wonderful space, everything here.
Yeah, because otherwise anybody could have made a 5-star hotel here, and you know, a lot of things could have, or even, you know, societies or buildings, structures for. But I think spending so much of money on them just to make a point that look, we need world peace, we need, you know, people to be in harmony and live together. It's a good idea.
It's also a very, very nice structure.
Yes, and it's all Dr. Karat's idea. I mean, what I'm saying, he's an engineer primarily, and he did it on his own, I would say that. And everyone was saying that, well, how will it go? He said, don't worry, I'll make it, and he did it.
Yes, it's architecture, you know, it's so important. It kind of brings together technology and philosophy.
Yeah. Yes, it's very important.
Right.
So I think on this note, I would just sign out and say thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you again, and I really hope I can come back.
I would like you to visit again
Okay.
and give us another chance to talk to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Keep watching Vishwa Shanti Darshan.